Our core premise of Shepherd is construction companies that use technology to power their operations. They're inherently at better risk. Therefore, they should be rewarded by the insurance companies.
Hey, welcome back to The Broker's Voice. I am excited today. I am joined by Danil Kolesnikov, founding engineer of Shepherd. Danil, welcome to the show.
Hi, Andy. Thank you so much for having me. It's a big honor.
Yes, this is going to be a fun one because when I do these Broker's Voice episodes, this was a series I actually started a few years ago and then kind of put on the shelf. I've brought back out. It's been really interesting to connect with folks like you, where you guys offer a solution to the industry that I was totally unaware of. And this show has kind of become a nice little spotlight for industry partners that, hey, if we can help shine a spotlight on you, we're here to do that. So let's talk about Shepherd. Let's start at the beginning. You're founding engineer, so I got to believe you were there at the beginning of this program. What problem was Shepherd trying to solve when the founders, and please let us know who the founders are, when they went to work building this tool, let's call it for insurance in the construction space?
Yeah, and that's a great question. To give the intro to the founders and give them a lot of credit, Justin Levine, our fearless leader and incredible CEO, Justin Levine, he actually has had a fantastic ride even before Shepherd, where he built TradeTab, which was like construction tech startup that he sold to Building Connected and then eventually being sold to Autodesk. So he really knows the industry of construction insurance. And back in the day, he actually was a risk manager at a construction site. So he really knows. And it was back in the day when he was walking around with pen and paper, marking different issues with sites. And then Mo, our CTO Mo, has had an incredible career at Airbnb, where he led a lot of really interesting efforts. One that really caught my eye when I was interviewing with him was an email service that he has built for the entire marketing organization at Airbnb. So if you ever gotten an email from Airbnb, it came from a tool that he built.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so going back 4 years, so I joined as the first hire in 2021. When I met Justin and Mo, it was like very evident to me that they knew what they were doing and they had a really strong vision on how to bring novel data sets from third-party technology tools that are used at construction sites. Think Procore, think Autodesk, think like project management software that is used to power those complex, high-risk, high-hazard construction sites to make them safer. And they understood very well that insurance companies, the status quo, the incumbents, they actually don't reward the use of construction tools, tech tools, on the site for the purposes of insurance. And we have changed that over the past 4 years. Our core premise of Shepherd is construction companies that use technology to power their operations. They're inherently at better risk. They're at superior risk. Therefore, they should be rewarded by the insurance companies. They should be punished for that.
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. So if they're already more of a tech-driven construction company,
Exactly.
The thought there is they're probably inherently more of a safer risk. So let's reward them when it comes to buying insurance.
You nailed it.
So let's talk about, okay, awesome. What role, this is your chance to go into the details, founding engineer, I'm sure you've had a big involvement in the back end building of it, but okay, so where does Shepherd play a role in that of, okay, we got tech-driven construction companies, let's reward them when it comes to buying their insurance. How does Shepherd bridge that gap to make that happen?
I mean, that's a fantastic question. I can go on for like 5 hours talking about that.
You want to take the rest of the episode to talk about this? Let's go.
When I joined Shepherd, I knew nothing about insurance, which was both a blessing and a curse. One big learning that I have over the past 4 years is it's a very obvious learning, to be honest. But when you do get into the nitty-gritty details, you understand why it's very impactful. The learning is insurance is a very, very large and vast set of challenges. Creating something like Shepherd is actually very, very complicated for many different reasons. I like to say we operate in an industry that is permission-based, not permissionless. If you and I tomorrow decide to start a competitor to Shepherd, like we cannot just do it. It's not like building another app on an app store. It's very permission-based, and you have to go through a lot of legal, regulatory hoops in order to even get started. That in itself is an incredible challenge to begin with. But going deeper on understanding every single edge case, every single nuance, every single workflow that either an underwriter or a customer success associate performs inside the insurance value chain, insurance buying process chain, that has really not just surprising, but like how big and complex it is. But it has allowed us to create an opportunity for engineers at Shepherd to really participate in understanding what does insurance buying process look like, but also bringing the technologies of 21st century to power it and make it a lot more efficient. One of the core efficient gains that we have created over the past 4 years was investing in our own proprietary built underwriting platform. I would even say it's like an insurance platform that resembles kind of like a Bloomberg terminal for commercial insurance, where you can do effectively everything and anything. You can go from A to Z, underwriting complex commercial risks. And it is proprietary to us. Back in the day, one of the biggest decisions that Mo and I have made was doing that, which was building our own instead of buying. We've literally interviewed every single company out there, the likes of Guidewire, Duck Creek, every single one. And we weren't impressed. I'll be very frank. We looked at their demos. They charge a lot of money. They actually do charge usually based off a percentage of the book of business. So as we grow, the bill is getting bigger and bigger. There was no SaaS flat fee. And we ultimately decided to build our own in-house. And that has been really, really impactful. It just created an incredible tailwind for Shepherd to move really quickly and launch net new insurance offerings. Like we have entered the market a couple of years ago with excess liability offering, which our broker partners like Aon, Marsh, many others have loved, appreciated. And then we launched Primary. And then earlier this year, we've been able to launch a builder's risk property offering. So effectively, we've been launching net new insurance offerings every other quarter, like every year, we launch a new one. And that is thanks to our internal platform.
Interesting. So if I'm an advisor with a pretty big, what do I want to call it, niche within the construction space, and I'm looking for, I don't want to maybe call it a one-stop shop, but for construction risk, you guys have built a platform that give me an opportunity to find pretty much what I need there, along with, if I'm hearing you right, speed up the path of underwriting and things like that to make sure I can get things done at a faster pace.
Absolutely. And we have an incredible team of like our own underwriters. So we employ our own team, and they will work with the brokers from Aon, Marsh, many other retail brokers to understand the risk and price it, structure and price it, and ultimately deliver a fantastic service. One of the fun learnings, Andy, I want to share with you. Earlier on, when we just launched excess liability into the market, we obviously were, we weren't anyone. We're no one. No one knows about Shepherd, so it was definitely like a cold start problem. But an interesting thing that we have learned from the broker community was that a quick no was a very valuable and helpful thing for them. So if they've sent us a risk that wasn't within our appetite, because our appetite is very we do pride ourselves on excellent underwriting and building a sustainable book of business. So we decline a lot of risk that is not within our boundaries.
Yep.
But we thought that if we decline a lot of things, brokers will just walk away and say, "Oh, I don't like Shepherd." Actually, we heard, "Oh my God, I love Shepherd. You guys just decline in under 24 hours. You give me an indication back in 24 hours, and I know exactly I can just move on and talk to others, and we will not be stringing them along," because brokers have been burned by empty promises. The carriers say they can do everything, but you send them a submission and they're like, "Oh, actually, no, it's not within our box." So
that's a good point. It's a good point. Danil, you bring up a good point because it is probably a fine line, right? You don't want to get the reputation of, oh, these guys decline everything. But at the same time, I would say, yeah, there's nothing more frustrating to a broker than to submit, not hear back. And then when you finally check in for the third time, they go, oh, we're going to decline.
Yep.
I would rather have
Absolutely.
you say no thanks literally that first day than have me have to try to figure out where the heck you are, only to have you decline at the in the 11th hour. So I would say the speed to know is definitely an asset for many advisors.
Absolutely, Andy. And all of that became possible within Shepherd because we've built our own internal underwriting platform, our own internal system of record.
Yeah.
We didn't end up using and relying on others. We built our own technology team. And that has really, I would say, changed the narrative for the industry. Like year over year, when we go to ITC or many other conferences, like Shepherd is always front and center with technology. And we continue delivering on our speed promise to broker community while adding more and more breadth of coverage with property, with builder's risk, additional workers' compensation, expansions as well.
That's interesting that you said. I don't know what made me think about this, but when you guys were building this early on, and you already kind of presented one challenge there, which was how are brokers going to take to these quick no's? But when you guys went to work building the underwriting platform, again, dealing with a high hazard industry, depending on what niche they're in within construction, did you guys run into any challenges early on building out the underwriting platform?
Oh yeah, every single day. The challenges were, I would say, focused more around execution and just being able to frankly execute, because we had a small team, and we had such a big roadmap ahead of us that it was daunting at first, but brick by brick, sticks make piles. Things have worked out. I would say, Andy, one thing that you are, I think, touching on really interestingly and importantly is how do you build a company where software and technology isn't necessarily the product you're selling, because we're selling insurance, we're selling the service, selling the promise that will be there when things go wrong. How do you build an organization that has the empathy? How do you bring in the right engineers to understand insurance, or at least are willing to understand insurance? And how do you build an effective organization where engineers are learning from insurance folks, insurance folks are learning technology, and it becomes a flywheel for you?
Yeah.
I would say that Shepherd has done incredibly well. I would say it's one of the things that I'm most proud of over the past 4.5 years at Shepherd. We built a very strong empathy between the two sides of the aisle. One of my favorite Shepherd's core values across the aisle. The idea is, if you're an engineer, go talk to the underwriter, go understand their nuances, their problems, and vice versa. Earlier on, the best decision that Mo and Justin made in 2021 was building an in-person culture. And that has allowed for, frankly, for me to learn insurance, for me to learn underwriting, for me to become fluent in that art and science. And frankly, now 4 years later, being on your podcast and talk about these things.
Yeah, and nerding out about insurance, right? Yeah, no, and to give you any comfort, man, most of us who got in the industry that day we got in, we didn't know anything about insurance either. So you are not alone. But I think another thing that makes you guys unique is you see a lot of products come in the industry because they see an opportunity in the insurance space. It's an industry that's not going to go away anytime soon.
Oh.
But I believe Justin's background of construction. Justin wasn't just some tech guy that says, hey, we're going to come build a insurance company based on tech for this industry because we see a money opportunity. He had experience in the industry, and he understood the risks that go on in the construction industry. And I think that's important to understand.
Absolutely.
I mean, in a way, he built something to solve his own problem.
You're definitely right. He was the risk manager. He was actually the ultimate client.
Yeah.
He was the buyer of insurance, frankly.
Yeah. No, and I think I want people to hear that, because that is often why most products are successful, is when it was started by somebody who was just trying to solve their own problem.
Yep.
So now I'm going to ask you a fun question, because you're in San Francisco, right? You personally. I believe
Yes,
the
sir.
company is based out of New York City.
So we're bi-coastal. So our like headquarters officially is in San Francisco.
Oh, it is
But
San Francisco. Okay.
yeah, but Andy, we do have a large presence that we're growing a lot, especially next year in New York and Manhattan. A big underwriting team there, and then also
Okay.
we have Dallas, Fort Worth in Texas. A lot
Okay.
of awesome construction happening in the central region. So we'll make sure.
Okay, so we're gonna stick then to your backyard in the West Coast. You guys just recently expanded into California's casualty market,
Mhm.
which is its own animal.
And going back to me saying that it's a permission based business, not permissionless. Yeah.
But why? That's got to be a pretty big step for you guys, though, to go into the California market. Talk about that a little bit, if you can.
Well, if you're, I would say, like taking California and New York as a bucket, as a group of like most complex states, regulatory wise, and thinking about how much of America's economy is driven by New York and California.
Yes.
We can infer that a lot of construction happens there.
Yes.
And frankly, if you are a construction insurance provider and if you're not underwriting an insurance in New York or in California, well, what are you doing? You have to paraphrase my really good friend Chris Bollick, who is our director of underwriting at Shepherd. Like if go to New York, go look at the cranes. Go to Los Angeles, like look at the cranes and all the buildings that are being built up. Like this is where it's happening. It's frankly Texas. It is New York. It is California. And we go where the demand is. We go where the need is to ultimately provide that promise. Because ultimately, insurance is the promise. Insurance is the promise that when things go wrong, we'll be there for our clients.
Well, and that's the point. I mean, at the end of the day, you are a product that a construction company is looking to be there when the unexpected happens. And you guys have built a platform for the broker community that allows them to insure construction companies easier, faster, more efficient, quick to knows when it's not a fit. Talk a little bit about, you guys have a thing, it's called Shepherd Savings.
Absolutely.
Talk about that program and like, what does that do for a construction company?
Absolutely. And frankly, like Shepherd Savings is the nucleus of Shepherd. Like Shepherd Savings is that program that brings all of the Shepherd's value to the contractor. It is a program that allows construction companies and of course, the broker to get better premium, better rate, better terms, better treatment from the insurance provider, which is Shepherd in this case, if they're using technology. If they're using Procore, if they're using OpenSpace, Samsara, many other technology partners that we have partnered with, if they're using those, we will provide them better treatment, better rate, better premium. And ultimately, it is not just if you're only using it already. If you decide to purchase it, we'll be able to bring you all the benefits of the program, even if you're not already using it.
So
and ultimately, like I would say, one more thing to add. What Shepherd Savings says, Shepherd Savings is how we implement our thesis. The thesis of construction companies that are using technology, they're inherently better risks, and most importantly, they should be rewarded for that. That's how we reward them.
Which is your mission, right? And so if I'm a construction company using technology already, like you said, Procore, Samsara, things like that, which I'm going to plead ignorance. I'm not familiar with those, but if you're in the construction space, I'm sure everybody knows what they are.
Yeah, they definitely will. Yeah.
But you inherently become an ideal client for you. Let's talk about the brokers. Dare I say the obvious, somebody with a lot of construction companies, but what makes a broker a good fit for offering Shepherd?
Absolutely. Well, the broker's role and the broker's, mission, right, is to provide the best terms, find the best insurance, best terms, best conditions, best treatment, best partner, most importantly, for their client. And that is what Shepherd is able to differentiate against the competition.
Okay.
You might find some other, insurance carriers who might provide cheaper price. That's not us. we wouldn't necessarily provide a cheaper price for the purpose of providing cheaper price.
Yep.
Because very oftentimes, you get what you pay for, and you might have, a carrier that is, undercutting the competition by a lot, but then they're nowhere to be found when the claim needs to be paid. Of course, that's not where you want to be.
Yeah.
So by partnering with retail brokers, the best of the best, we have provided them with a better solution for their needs. Because ultimately, the client is going to be happier.
Yeah.
With that broker, the broker will be a lot happier. So most importantly, we're creating a win-win. Win-win-win. The client is winning.
Yep.
The broker is winning. Shepherd, the carrier, is winning.
Yep.
The 3 wins.
So if I've got a broker listening to this episode right now who has somewhat of a niche in the construction space, I mean, definitely take a look at what Shepherd's doing right now, because again, they're probably, most advisors would think of the traditional carriers that play in the construction space. You're bringing a new flavor to that space. I think that a lot haven't seen, and I'm excited to see where it goes, because if you're going to make the life of a broker easier by helping them identify the right kind of construction risks, technology-driven construction companies, it's kind of exciting to see where this goes in the next 5 years.
Thank you, Andy. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Very, very
I'm going to
excited.
ask you one more question, and then we'll wrap this. When you look ahead at the next 5 years, what does success look like for you guys?
We at Shepherd, we think a lot about AI and how AI will transform insurance. A lot of folks are thinking how AI might replace people, and it's meant to just drive efficiency, improve expense ratio, loss ratio. And sure, part of it will happen, but that's not how we're thinking about AI. Yeah. The way we think about AI is rather, what are the different things that we can do more of with the help of AI? How can Shepherd expand into many, many other industries beyond construction while maintaining a lean and mean team that is able to execute as well, or actually, I would say better than the incumbents? How can we have ultimately in 5 years have a $5 billion book of business while having a team size that is a fraction of what competition is?
I like that. Yeah, and I would say we are an industry that is slow to adapt.
Absolutely. So that's maybe 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, well, but what I'm saying is, for somebody like you who has already started down that path, that's going to give you guys a big opportunity to create some space from the competition. And so, yeah, it's exciting to see what you guys are going to do. So, hey, if you're an advisor, you have construction clients, especially out on the coast, Texas, things like that, you got to take a look at Shepherd and see what they're doing. Danil, if I have an advisor tuning in right now, is okay, that's me, I need to know more information, what is the best way to get in touch with you or Shepherd?
I would say number one thing, check in with leadership, whether you are already appointed with Shepherd. You might already be. If you're appointed, send us a submission at submissions@withshepherd.com.
Withshepherd.com. Okay.
Yep. And then if you aren't appointed, reach out to us, support@withshepherd.com, see if we can get the business going.
That's great, man. So submission@withshepherd.com if you want to quote.
Submissions plural.
Submissions plural. Okay. I love it, man. If you're an advisor, I'll say it one more time. You got construction companies, you're trying to niche into that industry. They got big risks. They're technology driven. So we're talking about leading edge construction companies. You might want to give Shepherd a shot. So I think I'm excited to see what you guys are going to do. Danil, thank you for the time, man. This has been awesome.
Andy, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody else, be good.